Hold the hell up. There is no way that he's actually this broken. I've been saying it each episode that I think this might be the strongest anime character we've seen today. And while, sure, you can take any god-level entity in any sort of media, and if you throw it against another god-level entity, it's really hard to say who would win, because if you actually allowed two different authors to write their characters the way as overpowered as they are, it could be stalemates, they both could end up dead, who the hell knows. But my instant death ability has lived up to its name. The only thing that was kind of a what if for me was distance. Distance between Takuto, the MC, death god extraordinaire, and whoever's trying to hurt him. You try to hit him in the back, you die. You try to hurt him from afar, you die. But here's the thing, I literally said this out loud when I was watching today. I was like, what would happen if someone launched a nuclear bomb at him, right? One country to another. Is distance a thing? 2-3 minutes later, he literally answers my question. So there's like these cockroaches. There's this creepy bastard who just makes a bunch of slaves out of a bunch of women. Isekai protagonist for you. I immediately wanted this dude dead, and unfortunately for me, he got to live a little longer than I was expecting and hoping for. So he sends this swarm of bugs to try to kill him. Any other person, it probably would have worked. Our boy literally says, hold up, I got this. Does a little Jimmy Neutron brain blast, connects this like strand of webs to all the insects to then locate the source of the threat. So because those things came from this character who was in a completely different location, could have been an hour, 3 hours away for all we know, he said die, and he died. What? Like, I'm sorry, this should be broken, bro. Like, this is absolutely unhinged, and somehow, being 3 episodes into the show, I am more interested in a character who can't be defeated than I was walking into the first episode saying, it's probably gonna get boring. Bitch, no it ain't. Full live reaction to today's insanely good episode over on my Patreon. If you want to see my full length thoughts, they're over there if you're interested. This show has no right to be this good, but it is so freaking fun. I love the fact that it's unhinged. But there is this like element that sometimes the characters our Centro 2 will be like, you know, we're feeling a little bad here. Like we're actually kind of a little psycho. But for the most part, they kind of just navigate. A character who's outside your room going invisible trying to kill you? Yeah, no biggie. Oh, there's someone there. Hey, room service, there's someone passed out on my floor. It's like, I love that. The best though, I have to say, so there's like this group, right? The harem that was basically forced to serve this weirdo. As soon as I saw that little girl though, I was like, I paused and I wanted to call Chris Hansen. I knew this psycho was an absolute predator. And I think she got to live. I'm not really sure. She was controlling a bunch of puppets, which is actually a pretty cool ability. But, you know, the fact that they were dropping like flies, and I love the fact that he tests things, right? Because a lot of this is still uncertain for him. He's kind of like doing trial and error. So an ice wall around it, he's like, die. You could shoot 1,000,000 bullets at him and he could just tell all those bullets to die and they would probably just drop like flies. Oh, your wand? I want the wand to die. And then it goes limp. No amount of Viagra was going to get that wand to stick back up, let's be honest. But I love the fact that out of all the girls, I thought maybe the blue-haired one would be the most sane or something. Like, I don't know, like she had a feisty side, but I figured she'd be the most like reasonable. And I think to some degree she was, because she did like back down initially, but of course you're still going to try to fight the guy who, you know, is obviously trying to potentially hurt you. She doesn't make it out. There's this girl, right? So there's like 2 of them after the dude drops like a sack of potatoes. The one's crying, freaking out, oh, poor old me, my master's dead. And she's like, nah, I out. She just books it. I love the fact that unironically, she looks at this man before and she says, hey bro, it's probably not a good idea to go after an unknown threat who potentially is killing us without us knowing. And he says, shut up woman, go make me a sandwich. So when this dumbass drops dead, she's like, I'm out. You think I'm gonna shed a tear for this man who didn't respect me? Do you think I'm gonna die for this man? And then she ends up being the servant to this vampire mommy up here. And honestly, she made an upgrade, all things considered. I have no idea where we're going, but there is this giant shadowy blob that immortal vampire mommy can't kill. And I assume our boy's gonna kill while he's eating lunch. Like that has to be where we go, right? Any other way around it. I just can't believe how fun the show is, how it breaks so many isekai tropes and trends. And honestly, while I'm not saying that it's to the same degree of One Punch Man, but there's very few shows I can compare something like this to, so I'm gonna make the One Punch Man comparison. One Punch Man took an idea that should work for a chapter to a handful of chapters at most, and made it absolutely work so damn well. And a show like this, where he can kill anyone, there's no threat to him as a character. He will always live. Maybe there's a threat to her because, well, you know, if she's far enough away, she could get hurt in the crossfire, sure. But really, I'm not going to shed a tear if she dies either. At this point, I just want to see how broken this becomes and how this man turns this world into his plaything, and who will stand in his way or who will be smart enough to say, "Thank you, Daddy, for letting me be in your presence because you realize you're going to die if you get in his way." He doesn't seem like an evil psychopath in the way that he gets pleasure out of this. He just lacks emotion. And that maybe is more frightening than someone who seems psychotic, because someone who can just be like, yeah, I mean, I'm killing a lot of people and I'm not, you know, it's probably not the right thing, but sorry, my Game Boy's now charged. Like, that's a little more frightening, and the fact that the girl that's hanging out with him isn't as responsive as you would expect. We're following two psychopaths here, and I love that, because most of who they're killing, I agree with who should die, but their lack of, like, when you actually would take a life, that would go on your conscience. But this dude just be Death God. And honestly, I guess he works well as a Death God because, I mean, the Grim Reaper, I doubt he's shedding too many tears, and that's basically what this boy is. I honestly don't know what is the biggest surprise of this anime season for me, because there's some shows I legitimately thought would just be fine that have turned out amazing. But in a lot of ways, I want to give the edge to my instant death ability, because I firmly thought this would be a trash, generic, or boring isekai of the season, and has turned into one of the more memorable isekais I have seen ever. Just because of how ridiculous this power dynamic is, and the idea that I still think I haven't even seen close to what he can do as OP-ness has me so excited for the future. I am bamboozled that I've gone from thinking this was going to be a fun isekai to a pretty good isekai to an amazing isekai in 3 short episodes. It's almost a parody of everything I've seen before, yet doing its One Punch Man twist on the isekai formula, and it's actually getting better with each episode. Let me know what you are thinking of this, because I don't think I've ever seen this level of overpoweredness in an anime before. It's bonkers, it's broken, and it's hilariously brutal. I need more. Thoughts yourself down below. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new around here. Of course, ring that bell so you can get notified when I upload more. And like I mentioned, we have that full live reaction over on my Patreon. And hey, while you're over there, you also get a video shout out. Alright, so today we have One Up Annie, James Anderson, and we have Cody Fox. So I appreciate the support, everyone. Please take care. Have a good one.